What's going on, guys? So, as you all know, the movie, My Little Pony movie, came out during the weekend. Um, I went to go see it with a coworker, and been seeing that a lot of other YouTubers have been giving their reviews on what they thought of the movie after they saw it. So I decided I'd pretty much do the same. Um, what I'm going to do with this one, either I've seen they either do spoiler free or they go ahead and give out spoilers. I'm going to do a mix here. I'll start off by just giving you the spoiler free version of it, just tell you what I thought of the movie overall, and then I'll jump into a more little detailed review of what I thought of the movie and certain parts about it. Um, so just go ahead, going in with the spoiler free part. Overall, I thought it was a good movie. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't really great either. I think that seems to be the general consensus of the fandom about this movie. It's, nothing great, but not bad. Which, considering the way they did it, that's about as good as it was going to get with what seems to be the direction they were going with that. Um, and it seemed to be that they're trying to make a movie that was based, or that was meant to not only satisfy the fandom, but also be easy to understand for people who don't watch, who have never watched the show before. So, which is, like I said, that's not a bad thing. I mean, one of the things I did like that they did with this was they did a pretty good job of introducing all the characters and, you know, kind of giving a quick rundown of who they are, how they are from the show. So, for like a lot of the parents who have kids who watch the show but they don't themselves, they're able to see the movie and get an idea of what it was. Now I don't know if it was, strong enough to really for them to see the movie and then be like, oh, I may want to go check out the show now. Um, while they did do a good job explaining the characters, I don't know, they did a great job of like maybe drawing in a new crowd. But for what they were going for, I think they did it pretty well. The plot, the whole storyline of it was really good. I enjoyed it. Animation was really good. Still, just feels a little weird looking at the new art style after being used to the Flash animation for a long time. But in its own way, it was really cool, really cute looking. A lot of really cool moments in there, just with the way the animation looked in some of the scenes. Enjoyed most of the songs. There were a few I was kind of, there it was kind of really waiting for them to finish because I didn't really enjoy them that well. But most of them, I enjoyed it. Threw me off guard when the first song came out. I don't know why. For some reason, my mind just went into this mode that there wasn't going to be songs in this movie. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because they've really haven't been using that many songs in season 7. I think we might have only had like 4 or 5 songs this season, if that. I don't even think there was that many in season 6. So I don't know. It just kind of caught me off guard when it happened. It shouldn't have, but it did. A lot of the new characters, really liked them. Obviously, Commander Tempest, not really the main villain of the movie, but I'm kind of considering her to be the main villain just because we had a lot more screen time with her than the Storm King. But I really liked her character. A lot of the other characters were cool. The only one I had a problem with though was the Storm King. I wasn't really too big of a fan of that villain. Not only because we didn't really get that much of a look at him until the very end, Just the overall concept of him just felt kind of weak to me. Uh, I'll get more into that here in a bit, but mainly he felt like a weak villain. Out of all the villains I've seen in the show, I wasn't all that impressed with Storm King, to be honest. Um, but other than that, I liked all these other characters. Overall, I thought, like I said, the movie was great. Nothing special, but it wasn't bad. I didn't leave disappointed. But you know, for it being like the first, I guess, official MLP movie for this gen, it could have been a lot worse than it was. I think a lot of people might have been expecting it to be a lot worse than it was, and it wasn't. So I was really happy with that. So that was my quick little spoiler-free part. I'm gonna go jump into the more detailed, which will have spoilers. So if you don't want to hear any of this because you haven't seen the movie yet, go switch off now. Just turn or pause the video. Go see the movie right now, and then come back and continue the video. I don't know why you haven't seen the movie yet. Go. Okay, so now for the one of the things I kind of did have a little issue with, like it wasn't a big problem, but it was just something I kind of noticed, is that it seemed like the focus with the main six, it kind of seemed like Twilight, Pinky, and mostly Rarity. It seemed like that's kind of who they were focused on when it came to the main six, or at least they had like the most lines, or the majority of the lines. Obviously Fluttershy isn't going to have that many lines just because she's really shy and quiet. So, I'm not going to go all the way with that one. But, I don't know, it felt like Applejack most of the time was just kind of in the back. Same with Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash actually I think had a bit more than Applejack, but still, it seemed like it was mostly Pinky, Twilight, and Rarity in this movie. Which was kind of weird. So like I said, Fluttershy, I can understand, but Applejack and Rainbow Dash, I would think, you would think they would have a lot more to say throughout all this, especially Rainbow Dash with how she is, how big her ego is, and brash, blunt. You would think she would have a lot more to say in this, but at least from what I know, it's like I could probably be wrong. Just from what I remember, it didn't seem like those two really had as much screen time or as many lines as the other three. Let's see what else. Okay, this is I know this specifically isn't anything new. This has been an issue with the show from like season 1, but I thought about it like a day after I went to see the movie, and I kind of just need to bring it up here again. Okay, so from what we know, Luna and Celestia are at least 2,000 years old, if not more. Now, granted, Luna's been like stuck on the moon for 1,000 years, but even still, those two should have like a lot of experience, considering they've been around for so long. So why is it that at the very start they just get knocked out like right away? They get turned to stone, like no fight given. It was just so easy. Those two are so useless. How they managed to be royalty for this long, man? Like, you're serious? If it wasn't for the fact that they raised the sun and moon, they would be nothing. You could just they would be so easy to overthrow. It's insane how this fucking works. Oh my god! I swear, it's like Cadence was the only one put up a fight. Like, it didn't matter all that much, but as soon as she went down, like Celestia and Luna tried to get away. But neither of them tried to put up a fight. They just pretty much accepted their fate. Like, it was so bad. I don't get it. How are they how are they in charge of Equestria and yet so just unreliable? It makes no sense. Like I don't get the characters at all. That that's just like a little gripe. Like I said, I know that one that's been like a gripe with the fandom for like since the show first existed, but like even in the movie, they're still useless. Like it makes no sense to me. But there were a lot of cameos of characters. Yeah, Big Mac, the CMC, Starlight, and Trixie. You know, uh, Bulk Biceps. You had all those characters and background characters that were in the show, but all of them, even the characters that actually get some screen time in the TV show, were thrown into the back. You didn't get any hardly any lines from them. Which isn't I'm not saying that's a bad thing. They threw them in there to show they are here. They're just not the focus of the movie, which is cool. I think the only ones I did not see, the only one we didn't see was we didn't see Discord. We got like a little balloon figure that Pinky made of Discord, but we didn't actually see his character in there. And I did not see Shining Armor. Actually, now that I think about it, I didn't even see Dr. Hooves. He wasn't there. But as far as I can tell, everyone, or Sakura, but I didn't really expect Sakura to be in there, to be honest. But pretty much all the other characters we saw, Lyra Bonbon, like I said, Starlight, Glimmer, Trixie, we saw the rest of them in there in the back. So, that was pretty cool. Even if they don't say anything, it's just fun to look at those huge crowds of ponies, just, quickly glancing through them to see who you can spot. It's like I pretty much do that in every single episode of the show now. It's just see who I can find in the background. It's kind of a fun thing to do. Let's see. Tempest. Her character I really liked. I don't know much about the voice actress, Emily Blunt. I don't know much about her. I looked up some of the other stuff she did. I don't really I recognize the names of a lot of them, but I haven't really seen a lot. Mostly, it seems like she's done quite a bit of stuff in Sesame Street, but she's actually done other shows as well. But her character, I really liked. I hope we actually see her in the show, because I think it was confirmed that the movie is taking place between season 7 and season 8, which I think a lot of people have issues with that because of some it's screwing up the timeline or whatever. But maybe personally, I don't really care that much. I've never been that worried about it. If it's a huge issue, then yeah, that's when I usually have issues with it. But from what I could tell, I don't really see anything that from movie wise that could have caused any big problems with Warrior's Place. So I'm not really all that concerned with it. But I'm hoping that because of where the movie does take place, we will see Tempest at some point in season 8. It may, I don't know how well that would be a possibility. Even if she's just in the back, I'd be cool with that. Just have her in there somewhere. But yeah, it's cool seeing a unicorn with a broken horn. I've read a lot of fanfics. Some of them have characters where their horns get broken off and stuff, and it's actually cool to finally see something like that in the show, and just see how the horn would work with it being broken. It's still there, but you could see the magic coming from it is a little out of control a little bit, because since it's not being able to focus out properly. So it's really cool to see that. But yeah, she she was a pretty terrifying character. The issue though was I kind of saw her redemption coming. I don't know how or why, but I just knew that she was going to be redeemed. And it's not really anything to do with the show, with the fact that they were redeeming pretty much everyone, all the villains in there. It had nothing to do with that. It was just I don't know. I feel like either killing her off, or just having her disappear entirely probably would have had the fandom upset just because of how cool of a character she was. So, or she seemed in the first few minutes. So I had a feeling like they were gonna keep her around, or find a way to keep her around, uh, just to keep everyone happy. At least in my opinion. I could be wrong about that, but I like I said, I liked her. I want her to be around. I want to see her in season 8. I think they could do some cool stuff with her. Uh, let's see. The des Oh my god. So yeah, so they get kicked out, or they get attacked. They go uh try to find the Queen of Hippogriffs, and they're going through the desert. That desert scene was probably the funniest part of that show, from what I can remember. There might have been some funnier moments in there, but just seeing Pinky in the desert when she starts going crazy, I swear to God, that might have been I was certain we were gonna start seeing some rainbow flavored cupcakes coming up real soon. Just the way she was acting, it was really creepy, seeing what she was doing in that scene. Like, it wasn't really anything major aside from her just picking up a skull and that bug just walking across her face and her eyeball. Like, that was you know, a little nerve wracking right there, but it was really funny. Like, Pinky was no different in the movie than she was in the TV show. They just kind of upped the level of how she is in the movie. It really made me concerned about her sanity in it. Because we all know her. Like, she's just that silly. She's crazy, but she's crazy in that silly way. This movie upped the level of that in certain scenes. Like, it really makes you question if she's all there or not. And especially in that scene, and later on when she's throwing cupcakes at one of those minions, and she just starts laughing maniacally during it. It was really funny, but it was really creepy as well. But yeah, so we get to start going. We actually started seeing some new places. I guess outside of Equestria. It's hard for me to really know what this world is, because for a long time I was thinking Equestria was the name of like the world, but from what it sounds like, Equestria is just the name of like the land that most of the ponies live in. The majority of ponies live in. So I guess that the desert they were going through, that was probably outside Equestria. And then the first place they go to, they're Clugtown, I believe it's called. The best way I can describe it is is an Obi-Wan quote from A New Hope, when he's describing Mos Eisley as a wretched hive of scum and villainy. That's how I would describe Clugtown. Just more, ponyfied, kid-friendly version of it. A lot of interesting characters there. A lot of fish and reptiles out there, type creatures. It's also where we met what's his name? Capper the cat. Very interesting character. Very shady. Obviously trying to trick them to come back to his place so he can settle a debt with someone. He has a cool it was a cool character. I don't know much about his voice actor, but I liked him from the sound of, from the way he was in the movie. I think my only complaint about him is that he swapped to their side way too quickly for my liking. Like he's gonna give him over to square away dead, and that pretty much changed when Rarity all Rarity did was so fix a little hole in his jacket and add some like little golden pins or something to it. And all of a sudden like he starts feeling sorry that he's about to do what he's doing like that. I don't know. That was way too easy for my liking. Obviously that's probably just because they felt like they didn't have enough time and they needed to move things along, but considering the movie was only an hour and a half, I feel like they could have drawn it out a little bit more. But I don't know. I didn't like how quick that was, and way too easy for something so simple as like patching a hole in his jacket. I don't know. Other than that though, I really like this character. Let's see. Then we get to meet. So they get away from there after Tempest finds them, and they meet the pirates, who are all parrots, I believe. They look like there's some type of bird. I believe they're parrots. Most of them were, at least. Again, it turns out they're working from Storm King, but just not willingly. And it was a fun, another fun scene in it. Kind of over pretty quickly, though. Really wasn't a whole lot for that's all that scene was to me. It was just fun. There wasn't really anything that stood out for me during that scene, but I guess it is cool to know that there are pirates in this world that they have. But other than that, it was just a fun scene. That's about all there was to that. So then they get to Mount Eris, which is supposed to be home of the hippogriffs. So they have hippogriffs in this world. I was not expecting that, and I'm really happy that there is, because that's just a cool thing. Again, that's not something I really expected to see in this world. It's kind of surprising if you think about it, considering you have bad ponies. Though what the bad ponies are in this world, I don't really know. Cause I'm not counting what happened with Fluttershy when she turned a bad pony, because that one was supposed to be more vampire-ish. I'm not counting that. I'm talking about the bad ponies that work for Luna. A lot of people call them bad ponies. I prefer to call them Thestrals, really. But again, I don't really know if they're real, since we don't really have much of a look at them. A lot of some fan fictions I read, that they are Thestrals and they're have their own little society or whatever. Some other fanfics I've seen, it's all about that, their armor's enchanted so that when they put on the helmet, it changes their appearance to give them that bad pony look. But it's one of those things I kind of wish we would get a more story out of, to know, so I could see if that's actually a thing, if they're actually their own race or not. So, I did think about if there's hippogriffs out there, since there were griffins, but also thinking that there was griffins out there, I didn't think that there would be hippogriffs. I was thinking they're probably just going to stick with griffins and keep it at that. So when they said that there were hippogriffs in there, that kind of caught me off guard, and I was really happy with that, because they are pretty cool. And then finding out that when they get to the sea ponies, and finding out that the hippogriffs turn themselves into sea ponies to get away from the Sea King, I was kind of cool with that. That was kind of a cool idea. I mean, I saw the sea ponies in the trailers, so I knew they were in there, which was kind of pretty interesting to me. But they said the hippogriffs. I figured there's gonna be some sort of tie-in to the hippogriffs leading into the sea ponies. I just didn't realize it was gonna be they were both the same race. Um, which again was really cool. Instead of having these two different races, they just threw them all into one and said they used magic to get out of it. The scene itself, though, with the sea ponies, I don't know. To be honest, I kind of I felt myself starting to fade out during that scene. I was getting a little bored with it. I think that's just because of my whole idea of mermaids and stuff. Like, it's just never been that appealing to me. Like, I don't know, just all that underwater stuff I've never really cared for all that much. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I was younger, I watched My Little Mermaid a lot, and I enjoyed the movie, but just the whole idea of mermaids or sea ponies in this case, like I don't know, it's just kind of boring to me. Like that whole scene, while the what was her name, Princess Skystar, she was pretty funny and adorable, but yeah, I don't know. I had mixed feelings during that scene. I'm not really sure what it was, but the whole idea of it, just I don't know. I was mixed on that one. I can't really explain why I wasn't all that entertained with that scene. It just kind of felt a little drawn out to me. But again, hippogriffs being the sea ponies, that's cool. So I'll give them that one. That was a pretty cool idea. Then we get to the part where Twilight tries to steal that orb because she wants to use it to defeat the Storm King, and it gets them kicked out, and the sea ponies refuse to help, or Queen Novo refuses to help them, which then leads into the argument between Twilight and Pinkie Pie. Oh god, I was not too keen on that argument. Like that whole scene in general, I did not like. And the sad thing about that was I saw it coming. I knew there was going to be a fight. Like at some point they were going to there's going to be a fight with each other. And I knew it was coming because almost the majority of movies these days and even some TV shows have a scene like that where they argue with each other. Now, that's probably just like a character development thing. They're trying to get, show that even though they're friends, they do clash with each other. It's I don't know. I feel like it's so overdone now. Like I said, almost every movie I see has something like that, and I'm just so I don't know. I'm kind of just worn out with that, especially with My Little Pony. Like I understand what they're doing, like showing that even Twilight, who's the princess of friendship, is supposed to know everything about friendship. Even she's not perfect with it, but I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm just worn out. Like I was gonna say, it just felt out of character for her, but then again, thinking about it, it probably wasn't because she's getting worked up and worried and just kind of lashed out. But I don't know. I'm really tired of it. I wish they would movies would start backing off from doing that. I don't know. That's just me though. I hate seeing stuff like that, to be honest. So then they all separate, and Twilight gets captured by Tempest finally. So we get another song, and song Tempest sings there. That was probably my favorite one of the movie. But that whole scene in general, I really liked the way they kind of did her background story and showing how how her horn got broken and she ends up running away. Just the art style of that was really cool. Like they went with the I don't know what they call it, but like we've seen it in the fandom where they do like the kind of more round shape with the pointy hooves. The kind of usually there they just do like a solid color for the eye, but and here they actually did the eyes normally. They just stuck with the pointy hooves type style of it. But that whole scene, like, I really liked that. I was actually really impressed when the Ursa Major showed up though. Like the Ursa Major looked like it was straight out of the TV show. Like it had been done in Flash, which I was really impressed with. But yeah, that whole song and the background, that whole background scene, like I really enjoyed it. That might have been my favorite scene in terms of like in different approach to an art style that they did. Let's see. Though I do want to know something like that's kind of one of the things I'm hoping for if they show Tempest in season 8 and they actually ever talk. I want to hear more about her background because she gets attacked by an Ursa Major. She loses her horn. She gets a scar over her eye, and then she decides to run away when her friends are suddenly afraid of her because she can't really use her magic that well. I want to know where her parents were during all that. Like that's just like she just ups and leaves, and no one seemed too concerned about that. So like I want to know what were her parents. I would really like to get a story on that in season 8 if they bring her into the season. I really hope they do. So they finally get back. I think it's also at this point that Capper and the pirates meet back up with Twilight's other friends, and Princess Skystar uses the orb to turn herself back into the hippogriffs, and she joins them, and then they all go to try to rescue Twilight. But then we get back to the castle, and we finally meet the Storm King, who I said earlier that I thought he was a weak villain. Now his design, I don't know what the hell he is. I don't know if he's like some type of ape-like creature, if he's supposed to be like a yeti or what. Whatever the hell he's supposed to be, it's an interesting character. Like I like the design of it. I like the voice actor Liev Schreiber. Best known for his role in X-Men Origins as Sabretooth, which is kind of sad because like if you haven't really seen him in that movie, then you're just not gonna really know who he is. Cause the only other movie I can think of that he was in was Defiance, which I believe was like I think it was it was a World War II movie on, I want to say it was either Polish or Jewish resistance. It was some type of resistance, but it was him and Daniel Craig in that one. But it's like aside from those two, I don't know anything else he's been in aside from this movie. So it's like he doesn't seem to be in anything that popular, from what I could tell. But I really liked him in this. Like he did a good job as Storm King, and again his design was cool. Just the character itself was really I was not all that impressed with the character itself. I mean, his entire concept revolves around him using the staff of whatever it was to steal the Alicorn's magic, and then that's what lets him control the storms. Which, in and of itself, is also really weak, since pretty much. I mean, he was able to shoot lightning out of it, but it's like, how many times have we seen ponies get struck by lightning and act like nothing happened? Like, sure, they get a little burned, but they don't die from that. So it's like probably the most destructive thing he was able to do with it is create like a tornado. And that was about it. So like creating storms, like I don't know. I'm just not. I was not all that fond of the character, the way they went about with that character. It just didn't feel like he was all that threatening to me. And hell, the fact that he had to do like a Lord Tyrek move of stealing the Alicorn magic, like, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, Lord Tyrek was more powerful than that. He pretty much had to copy that and just throw it into his staff. Just, I don't know. Cool actor and character design, just the concept of the character itself, I wasn't really all that impressed with. I feel like they could have done a lot better with him, but again, that's why I'm not really sure if I should consider him to be the main villain. Like, obviously he was, but that's considering we really didn't see him until like probably the last 20 minutes of the movie. You know, it was mostly Tempest that we were focused on, which is why I kind of consider her to be the main villain over him. Which also brings me into kind of an interesting topic of the fact that when Tempest, decides that, Twilight was on something the whole time with the friendship thing, and basically becomes redeemed at this point. She goes to defend Twilight when Storm King throws that little magic orb that turns into stone, and she gets hit with it, and when she's close enough to block it from Storm King, which causes him to get affected by it, he falls off the balcony and shatters. To me, I think that might have been like the first time we've seen death in the movie. My coworker I saw with says Sombra was the first death, which I guess, depending on how you look at it, that's true. Just, I don't know. I have to go watch that episode again because I don't know. To me, it felt like Sombra in that wasn't actually Sombra himself, like physically. It just felt more like it was like it was him, but it wasn't him actually. Like, if something was left behind that he was able to live through. Kind of like Lord of the Rings. Like, they kill Sauron, but he didn't truly die because his soul was like attached to the ring, so he was able to come back. And I kind of feel like that was the deal with Sombra. But I don't know. Like I said, I had to go watch that episode again. I've only seen that episode once, to be honest. So there's definitely something I'm missing from that one. But so I mean, if you're looking at it like that, then yeah, Sombra was the first one to die. Was the first death in the show, but it's not something you really see all that often in this. So it was, especially in that way, like, getting turned to stone and then shattering. That's pretty intense, really. Heck, again, back to that desert scene when Piggy's like picking up what looked like a griffin skull, and just like, even that was pretty intense for me. Like that, like she's holding on to a dead body or the skull of someone who died out here. Like that just doesn't seem like something they do all that or show that often in the show. Which was kind of a nice thing to see, which is kind of weird to say. Like they're kind of pushing out a little bit from their comfort zone and doing a little bit more with it. So let's see. Is there really anything else I can think of? Oh, I didn't talk about Grubber, did I? The assistant to Tempest. I don't know what the hell he was, like a hedgehog or like I don't know what he was supposed to be. But he was a cool character. Like I would say, he was the comic relief villainy type character. The voice actor, what was his name? Michael Pena. I didn't recognize the name, but when I looked it up, probably the one that stood out for me was that he was an Ant-Man. He was like uh, his friend that was helping him set up like the little robbery stunts that they've been doing. Like that's what I know. That's still what I mostly know him from. So it was kind of cool to see someone else that I recognize in there. But I really did like his character too. Let's see. Anything else? I don't really think there's much else to talk about. Obviously, yeah, it's Sia, Saya, however you pronounce her name. Honestly, I never really listened to her music before that. I never even heard of her until, I saw the first trailers. So, I really don't have much to say about her in this. Uh, I skipped over really talking about Queen Novel. That's just because I don't really have much to say about her. I mean, again, she was kind of a cool character, but her voice actress I don't know a whole lot about. So, uh, the minions for the Storm King, those big bulky things, they're pretty cool. Whatever the hell they were supposed to be. Oh, that is the scene where like one of those minions starts having like a little therapy session with Fluttershy. That was so funny and adorable at the same time. Like that is so Fluttershy. Like it was so out of place for that to happen, but at the same time, it is so something she would do. It was awesome. I love it for that. Fluttershy, Fluttershy is an adorable character, but just in that animation art style that they have for this movie, she was like 10 times more adorable. And it's like I really loved it. Man, I think that might have been it. Oh, and learning, I guess the last thing, learning Tempest's last name. For one, the look that Pinky gave when she finally heard the name, that was an amazing face. I gotta say, just seeing the stars in her eye. But the name of her herself, I want to say it was, I believe it was very, uh, was it? Oh, sorry, Visual Pop Berry Punch, I believe was the name. I don't know. I have to go see it again, watch it again to remember the name. I'm not saying I don't have the leaked movie downloaded on my computer somewhere. I will never do that. Definitely not. But yeah, I'll be honest. I've already watched it like 3 times since I found that leaked movie. But yeah, I don't know. Like the name is cool, but it's like a cool name, but for some reason, the name itself is so out there that I have a hard time remembering what it was. It's such a simple name too, but it's a name you would not expect, and I have a hard time remembering it. But yeah, I think that's about all there is that I really had to say about it. So yeah, since like I said, I feel like the movie was directed for being targeted not only at the fandom but at people who haven't seen the show at all. They did a good job. Uh, like I said, it wasn't all that great, but it wasn't a bad movie. And as I said, also, I'm sure a lot of people were expecting it to be a lot worse than it was, and it wasn't. It was a pretty good movie. Um, really, while there were a few things I complained about, there probably really isn't anything I would have wanted them to change about it. other than Storm King. Like, just I don't know what they could have done with him, but just I just was not impressed with him. But aside from that, yeah, I liked it. I'm not gonna give a score for it though because I don't like movie scores. You know, like the whole Rotten Tomatoes or whatever. I don't like that. You know, because you know, just because I don't like a movie doesn't mean everyone else is gonna hate it. You know, I hate stuff like that. So I'm just gonna settle for telling you it was good. Go see it yourself, and you can decide if you thought it was as good as I've saying it is, or if you thought it was better or worse, or you're not, you know, whatever, whatever you felt about the movie, you know, it's all up to you. Uh, but yeah, don't think there's anything else to say. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, go see it. Be courteous, you know. You know, it's kind of sad for me to say it, but I have heard about. Apparently, there's been a few issues when the movie first debuted that people complaining about how some of the brilliants have been acting in theaters. It's like, tone it down, guys. There's going to be parents and kids seeing this movie too, so be respectful to them. But other than that, go enjoy it because I don't know if we're ever going to get another MLP movie for this current generation, considering how we're probably really close to the end of this generation. I doubt that we'll get another movie. So enjoy this one while you can. So there's my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take it easy.